They thought the king would demand animals, but instead he demanded something far more terrifying. Because this wasn't justice. It was a calculated psychological strike designed to break an entire belief system. But the real question is, why would a righteous ruler risk becoming a monster in their eyes?
Long before the deception, the kingdom was already bleeding under rituals disguised as devotion and divine obedience.
And at the center of it stood a silent observer who understood the true enemy wasn't evil, but ignorance. He saw the pattern clearly. Fear was being sold as faith, and blood had become its currency.
But confronting them directly would fail, because people defend beliefs stronger than they defend truth. So, instead of fighting the illusion, he decided to weaponize it. And in that quiet moment, a dangerous idea took root, one that would terrify an entire kingdom. He began performing devotion, not out of belief, but as a carefully staged psychological signal. Every movement was intentional, because influence begins long before words are ever spoken aloud. Soon the whispers began. Even the prince fears the tree spirit. We should too. And just like that, the illusion took hold. They believed not because it was true, but because it felt real. Then the timing aligned, power arrived, and with it, the perfect moment to reveal his true move. He waited, not for approval, but for absolute authority, because strategy fails without control over consequences. And then he said it, a vow so brutal it would hijack their deepest fears instantly. 1,000 sinners, their flesh, their blood, offered as sacrifice. Not animals, but people. In that moment, fear replaced faith, and the entire kingdom felt the ground beneath them collapse. The message spread faster than reason, amplified by fear, distorted by imagination, impossible to ignore. Suddenly, every hidden sin felt exposed, because now punishment wasn't symbolic, it was personal and inevitable. And just like that, the same people who once killed without thought began policing themselves relentlessly. Not because they became moral, but because they were finally afraid of the consequences they once ignored. Days passed, yet no blood was demanded. The threat alone had already done its work. The sacrifices stopped, not by force, but because fear redirected their instincts towards restraint. He never intended to sacrifice anyone, because the real target was never bodies, it was behavior. And in the end, he achieved what force never could, a peaceful kingdom built on controlled perception. This wasn't morality. It was behavioral engineering, where fear rewired choices faster than wisdom ever could.
But the real danger remains, because what controls behavior today can control truth tomorrow.